and Syrian troops are now fleeing the front lines of both battle cities. It's, as I suspected, a terrible situation that we have the blood on our hands of ISIS. We Americans have enabled ISIS to get where they are, to commit these atrocities against the human race. This is what happens when you have no morality in a nation. This is what happens when you have no leadership, just Machiavellian calculations. Because melting down it is. I mean, make no mistake about it. We elected these vermin called Republicans. They're worse than Democrats. Not all of them. I told you, Senator Cotton, I'd vote for him. I'd work for him. Look what they did to him. Look what they did to the real military veterans who we elected. They put them at the back of the bus. That's what the Republican establishment really is. Pure, unadulterated, greedy evil. Then you've got the rotating clown show on the Republican side. Some good men, yeah, but they're neutralizing each other. It's sad to watch, but that's what's happening. Notice that the Democrats aren't neutralizing each other. It's all a hustle, and what Obama is doing is no different than what they've done from the beginning of time in many ways, except he's a fanatic on social issues. That's the difference. But on taxation and on trade, tell me how Boehner is any different than Alexander Hamilton. They're pushing a new secret White House deal with China. They won't let anyone read it. It's still hidden in the Capitol basement. And right now Obama has a rebellion on his hands, not from the Republicans who we put in power, but who from? But from the unions and the progressives. They don't want Obama trade. They don't want this secret deal with China. But who's pushing it? John the Drunk Boehner, the gobbler, McConnell. So what's that about? It's about taxation without representation. It's about selling out the citizens to some greater power. I'm not going to ask you to call because many of you are lost already, since I can't have you listen to me and say Republicans good, Democrats bad, or our side is against them Dems. Right away I'll get the knee-jerk listeners to talk radio to call in. Yeah, Mike, them Dems are really bad, and if only we get them good Republicans in like the founding fathers, why we could save the nation. I'm a little more cynical than that. And that's why when I entered radio 21 years ago, I said, hey, don't confuse me with a Republican. I know there are many copycats right now, carbon copies we used to call them. But I've been the original independent in talk radio, and I have been and I continue to be. So what good does that do you? Nothing. I'm only here to entertain you. There are many other topics. The global warming lie, another shuck and jive in order to steal money from us. Climate science is a complete fraud. Complete fraud. We all know that. We've been through a cooling phase. Now they're trying to rig up the data now, NOAA, because there's so much money at stake. Here comes the next big lie. Again, the dictator says that under his presidency, the U.S. is the most respected nation in the world. I want you to listen to this, and listen to this written by the sorority in 5.
You know, people don't remember. When I came into office, the United States, in world opinion, ranked below China and just barely above Russia. And today, once again, the United States is the most respected country on earth.
Where?
And part of that, I think, is because of the work that we did to re-engage the world and say that we want to work with you as partners with mutual interest and mutual respect.
Okay, you know it's a complete fabrication. He almost started World War III with Russia, which, by the way, could still happen any moment because of his insanity and his inferiority complex and his jealousy of Putin. Now suddenly it's the most popular nation on earth. I wish that was true. But on what basis is it the most respected country in the world? Where would that be? In North Korea? Where are we respected? Look, you get the picture. We can deconstruct his liar day and night. What good is it going to do? So let's move on to the other topic ideas for the savage nation. Let us see. Minnesota Muslims prefer Sharia law and would rather live in Muslim countries. But they're here. They like the green, Uncle Green. I don't understand why the Minnesota Muslims don't move to their homeland where they can be happy in Sharia law, like the Somalis. Why don't they go back to Somalia? If they want Sharia law and they don't like the white Christian culture, why don't they go back to Somalia where they had it so good? People are mutilating themselves in order to be deemed disabled. Hillary Clinton losing support of women. That's funny. Study shows people are consuming an average 8 hours of media every day. I wonder how much I consume. I consume more than that. Only 8 hours? That's low. I'm more like 18 hours of media. I'm rarely disconnected from a screen. People are in front of screens for 8 hours a day. What else is there? What else is there? I mean, what else is there in the world other than screens? Why would you want to go into the fake world of reality when you could live in the real world of unreality? I mean, what's wrong with you? Why would you want to go into the fake world of reality? The uncomfortable, impossible fake world of reality when unreality awaits us at every turn. I'll be right back.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
Hey, our Savage Nation is sponsored by SwissAmerica.com, the only company I trust for wealth insurance, gold and silver. Call 800-BUICOIN. It has been quite a week on the Savage Nation. I would say the high or low point, depending upon your religious viewpoint, was when I asked on Wednesday, should all the passages calling for murder and killing be taken out of the Old Testament and the Quran in the United States? That set off a shockwave. And in typical fashion, no one else mentioned it in the media, even though it's the most poignant question in the history of talk radio and the most daring question ever raised in talk radio. I wouldn't expect anyone to mention it. It's easy to talk about other subjects. That's a tough one. And then I would say yesterday's show was another, kind of seminal show, a tour de force. I don't even want to repeat it. It was awesome. The music that I picked and my sense that it's all a hustle, everything's a hustle on both sides of the aisle, was a good show. I know it's negative. I know you want to believe in something, and you got to believe in something, and you got to let those balloons fly and clap and cheer when the politicians speak. But I don't know. I'm pretty cynical. I was cynical at age 5 by what I saw in the world, so what should I do? Sit here and cheer you on and tell you this one, that one? I don't know. You'll make up your own mind anyway. Just remember, I'm only a talk show host. I am not a politician. It is not my job to promote any candidate. I'm not in business to promote candidates. In fact, I think it's illegal to promote candidates. To be very honest with you, I don't know how people in talk radio who have candidates on one side of the aisle and not others get away with it, because I think it's purely illegal. If I were to only have Republican candidates on this show and no Democrats, I would be violating the laws of the public airwaves. Now, you'd say, well, it's just balancing out what they do on the other side. That's true. They're violating the laws as well. Talk radio is more than politics. How many times have I had to say to you over the 20 years that if this was just about politics, I would have left after the first day? There's so much more in the world than politics. And yet politics seems to rule the day in talk radio. Somebody called talk radio today conveyor belt radio. Conveyor belt radio. Rush comes on, and the next one comes on, the next one comes on, the next one comes on. And whatever he does, they copy, like a conveyor belt, the same topics. He said, with the exception of you and maybe Alex Jones, there's nobody else doing original radio. I said, okay, whatever you want to think, but I didn't come into this business just to talk about politics. My mind is not made that way. So I tried to do that this week. Was I quoted anywhere? No. Did anyone say it's one of the most brilliant radio shows they ever heard? No. Was I invited to a corporate retreat to talk about my ideas? No. Was I offered a prize from the radio industry for breaking new ground? No. No one heard it, except you, the audience. So I keep doing it anyway, because I make believe I'm in a cafe called Cafe Savage, and I own the cafe. And you come into the cafe to relax, to have a cup of coffee, a biscotti, whatever, glass of wine, whatever you want. And in the typical fashion of a cafe owner of the old days, basically I talk, and we have a conversation. That's what a cafe is. I mean, that's what it used to be until they became Starbucks. It's not a cafe. So there's a coffee house. It's different. They serve coffee. That's not a cafe. So let's talk about all the other topics now. I have some political topics up on michaelsavage.com, home of the Savage Nation. Let's look at them. Obama secretly backing the Muslim Brotherhood. A strategy document regards the group as moderate. You hear this? And they're moderate, the Muslim Brotherhood, and their front group in America is CAIR. Next one. Huge drop in stop and frisk as New York City crime increases. Raises fear that cops are reluctant to confront criminals. No kidding. What would you do if you were a cop? You'd stop and frisk a thug? And if, God forbid, he didn't have a gun, you'd go to jail and lose your job? So let him go kill somebody, that's all. Until all of America becomes Baltimore and everyone's begging for a cop again, then maybe we'll have a law and order again in this country. No, let the liberals destroy everything. Then maybe the America will wake up to what liberalism does. Here's another fake imam. Listen to this story. Gangster turned imam may have radicalized dozens behind bars. See, this is the new racket. He was a gangster in Brooklyn, held up banks, just a plain-out gangster. Former U.S. Marine, became a Muslim radical, gang leader and bodyguard to the blind sheik behind the 93 World Trade Center bombing. His dirty lawyer wants him freed immediately. See, that's the new game, is that if a criminal, a career criminal now calls himself an imam, suddenly everyone gets on their hands and knees. Oh, he's a religious figure. Oh, we can't say anything to him. Oh, no, everyone's an imam.
Savage.